Sophia Carter didn't mean to text a stranger at 2 a.m. She was just desperate. The kind of desperate that makes you forget to double-check phone numbers before hitting send. Her daughter Emma had been crying for an hour, her fever spiking to 103, and the last dose of children's Tylenol sat empty on the bathroom counter. Sophia sat on the edge of her bed, hands shaking, staring at her phone. She scrolled to her cousin Rachel's contact. Rachel had helped before, reluctantly, but she had. Sophia hated asking, but Emma's forehead was burning, and the pharmacy wouldn't open until morning. She typed quickly, fingers trembling. "Rachel, I know it's late. Emma's sick and I'm out of medicine. Can you lend me $30 until payday? I'm sorry." She pressed send without looking, dropped the phone onto the mattress, and buried her face in her hands. 5 minutes passed, her phone buzzed. "I think you have the wrong number." Sophia's stomach dropped. She grabbed the phone, stared at the screen in horror. 1 digit off. She'd texted a complete stranger in the middle of the night, begging for money. Heat rushed to her face. "I'm so sorry," she typed back. "Please ignore. Wrong number." She tossed the phone aside, pulled her knees to her chest, and fought back tears. Another mistake in a long line of them. Across the city, in a penthouse overlooking the skyline, Daniel Cross stared at the message on his phone. This number was private. Only family had it, and that list had gotten shorter over the years. The text wasn't spam. It was real, raw, human. He read it again. "Emma's sick and I'm out of medicine." It wasn't just a request. It was a mother at the end of her rope. He should have ignored it. Any other night he would have. Instead, he typed back, "Is your daughter okay?" Sophia blinked at the response. What kind of stranger follows up like that? Her first instinct was to block the number, but something about the question, how direct and genuine it seemed, made her pause. "She'll be fine," Sophia wrote. "Sorry again." "I can help," came the reply. "No strings attached." She laughed bitterly. "Thanks, but I don't take money from strangers." "Smart rule," he wrote. "I'm Daniel. Now I'm not a stranger." She didn't respond. She went back to Emma's room, placed a cool cloth on her forehead, whispered that everything would be okay even though she wasn't sure it would. And then she did something she swore she'd never do. She sent him her payment app username. 3 seconds later, her phone buzzed. 3,000 received from Daniel Cross. Sophia froze. She opened the app, checked again. 3,000, her hands went numb. "This is way too much," she typed. "I only needed $30. It's already yours, no catch, one less thing to worry about." She didn't cry when her husband left. She didn't cry when she lost her job. She didn't cry when the eviction notice came. But this shattered her. "Thank you," she typed, tears streaming down her face. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything, just take care of Emma." And then she realized it. She never told him her daughter's name. Sophia couldn't sleep that night, even after Emma's fever broke, even after she finally drifted into peaceful sleep. Sophia lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She kept checking her phone, rereading the transfer notification. 3,000, still there, still real. People didn't do this. Not for strangers, not without wanting something in return. She opened their chat again, scrolling back to that last message. "Just take care of Emma." No emojis, no hesitation, just certainty. That's what scared her most. How certain he seemed, like this was normal for him. She typed something, then deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. Finally, she wrote, "You didn't have to do that." A moment passed, her phone stayed dark. She exhaled, almost relieved. Maybe he'd moved on. Maybe it really was a one-time thing. The phone buzzed. "I know I didn't. I wanted to." Across the city, Daniel Cross sat in his office, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows that made him feel more isolated than connected. He was always here late, not because he had to be, but because going home meant facing the emptiness. His phone buzzed again. "Why would you help someone like me? You don't even know me." He stared at the words. Most people who contacted him wanted something. Investments, partnerships, favors. This was the first time in years someone asked why he cared. So he told her the truth. "Because once, someone helped me when they didn't have to." I never forgot that. There was a pause. I want to pay you back. His eyebrow lifted. For what? For the medicine, for the kindness, for not ignoring me. Another beat. I'll figure it out. Daniel's jaw tightened. She wasn't asking for more. She was still holding on to her pride even while drowning. He respected that more than he expected. Tell me what Emma needs, he typed. I want to send supplies, not money, essentials. Sophia hesitated. Only if it's really no strings. I don't do strings, he replied. Strings are for people playing games. The next morning, Sophia woke to a knock at the door. Her heart stopped. No one knocked here. Not at this hour. She pulled on a sweater, walked quietly to the door, and looked through the peephole. A delivery driver stood there holding several large boxes. She opened the door slowly. Delivery for Sophia Carter? She nodded. Signature here. She signed. She opened the boxes one by one on the living room floor, hands trembling. Medicine, vitamins, children's clothes, books, toys, even groceries. Not cheap brands either. The kind of stuff she saw in magazines but could never afford. At the bottom was a small envelope. She opened it carefully. Emma deserves more than just getting by. So do you, Daniel. No logo, no return address, just a signature from a man she'd never met. But she felt it deep in her chest. This strange, uncertain warmth that sat somewhere between gratitude and fear. Who was this man? And what did he really want? Sophia didn't touch the boxes for hours. They sat in the corner like a dream she was afraid would disappear. Emma had woken up feeling better, her fever gone, her smile back. Sophia just sat there watching her daughter play with a new stuffed animal, wondering what kind of world she'd just stepped into. She wasn't naive. People didn't do this, not without a reason. But there was no camera, no receipt, just silence. And that name, Daniel. She reached for her phone and opened a browser. She hesitated. She didn't want to know, but she had to. She typed Daniel Cross. The results loaded instantly. Daniel Cross, CEO of Titan Ventures, net worth $9.2 billion, a tech investor, former Marine, media reclusive, widowed, no children. Her stomach flipped. This wasn't just some generous stranger. This was him, the billionaire who funded half the startups in Silicon Valley, the man reporters called the Phantom Mogul because he avoided the spotlight like a curse. There were only a handful of photos online, all serious, unsmiling. One showed him leaving a courthouse, jaw clenched, eyes cold. So why was he texting her? Why did he send thousands of dollars in supplies to a woman with nothing to offer in return? Sophia clicked back to their messages. She stared at his last text. Emma deserves more than just getting by. So do you. It didn't sound like a billionaire. It sounded like someone who'd been broken and never forgot it. She typed, hesitated, then hit send. Why are you really doing this? He didn't answer right away. She waited 10 minutes, then 20. Her heart sank. Maybe he regretted it. Her phone finally buzzed. Because I know what it's like to lose someone you couldn't save, and because no child should ever feel that kind of pain. She stared at those words, stunned. They weren't poetic. They weren't transactional. They were just true, and they hurt. I don't want your pity, she replied. It's not pity, he said. It's recognition. Sophia leaned her head against the wall and closed her eyes. There was a beat of silence. Then her phone buzzed again. Do you work? That question stung. She almost didn't respond. I did, until Emma got sick and I couldn't afford daycare and the company laid me off. So no, not right now. What was your field? Marketing, mostly digital campaigns. I worked at a startup before everything fell apart. You were in marketing. Yeah, but I also know how to waitress, clean houses, and stretch $20 into a week's worth of meals. She didn't expect a reply, but he surprised her. Come by Titan Ventures tomorrow, 10 a.m. Ask for Claire, no strings, just a conversation. Sophia blinked. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you a chance to take your life back. Sophia hadn't been inside a corporate building in over a year. The last time she'd been wearing a borrowed blazer and shoes that pinched her toes. Today she wore her cleanest jeans, a simple blouse, and the only jacket she hadn't sold. She held Emma's hand tightly as they stepped through the glass doors. The Titan Ventures lobby was sleek, modern, intimidating. High ceilings, clean lines, quiet efficiency. The receptionist smiled as she approached. "Hi, I'm Sophia Carter. I'm here to see Claire." The woman's face lit up. "Of course. You're expected, 22nd floor. Miss Harper will meet you at the elevator." Sophia blinked. Expected? She followed the path to the elevator, heart pounding. When the doors opened on the top floor, a woman in her 30s with sharp eyes and a warm smile greeted her. "Sophia, I'm Claire Harper, Daniel's chief of staff. He's in meetings right now, but he asked me to show you around." Sophia followed her through glass-walled offices and quiet hallways. "I'm not sure what this is," Sophia said finally. "This feels surreal." Claire smiled. "Daniel doesn't do surreal, he does strategic." They stopped at a conference room with a view of the city. "He wanted you to see this first," Claire said, opening the door. Inside wasn't a workspace, it was a small playroom. Soft rugs, toys, books, even a tiny table with crayons. Sophia's hand flew to her mouth. "He thought it might help," Claire said softly, "so you could work without worrying." Sophia stepped inside, tears threatening. The room wasn't flashy, it was thoughtful. Every detail said one thing. Someone had paid attention. She turned back to Claire. "Why?" Claire's gaze held hers. "Because he knows what it's like to walk in alone." 20 minutes later, Sophia sat in a smaller meeting room with coffee in front of her. Emma was playing happily in the other room. The door opened quietly. Daniel walked in. Seeing him in person hit harder than she expected. He looked exactly like the photos. Tall, composed, expensive, but also more real. Tired eyes, slight stubble. A man who had built empires but hadn't smiled in a long time. "Sophia," he said simply, "thanks for coming." She stood awkwardly. "I wasn't sure if I should." "You came anyway, that's what matters." He sat across from her. "Before we talk about anything else, I want to be clear. You owe me nothing. This isn't a test. I'm not here to rescue you. I believe in investing in people." Sophia stared at him. "Why me?" Daniel looked down, then up. "Because I saw someone who didn't ask for a shortcut, who didn't expect anything, who was willing to go without before letting her child suffer. And someone like that, I'd trust with anything." Sophia felt her throat tighten. He slid a folder across the table. "Temporary position, 3 months, marketing strategy, flexible hours, work on-site or remote. Pay is more than fair, and if it's not a fit, you walk, no questions." Sophia opened the folder and blinked at the salary line. It was more than she'd made in a year at her old job. She looked at him. "This is real." "It is." She glanced at Emma through the glass, then back at Daniel. "And the playroom?" He smiled, just barely. "Also real." For a moment, they just sat there. Finally, Sophia nodded. "I'll take it.